Hi, I'm Jackie Partridge. Today we're going to be painting this stencil painting, Love You to the Moon and Back. I got this stencil on Amazon. You could do this with any kind of stencil that you have, but this is just a cute one that I wanted to do and share with you. So what you'll need is some painter's tape, some kind of metallic paint. I'm using an iridescent pearl by the brand Stevenson. This is a stencil brush. This is from the Martha Stewart collection. There's other ones you can get as well. I'm using a 2-inch flat brush to paint the background, a 1-inch flat brush, a round detail brush, a number 6 round cup of water, rag, and then for our acrylic paints, I have a lot of Mars Black for the background, some titanium white, cobalt blue, and a little bit of cadmium yellow and some crimson paint that I have as well. Of course, you'll need the stencil too. In the other example I had a large moon painted at the bottom, but since I'm working on a smaller 8 by 10 canvas, I think I'm just going to end up centering this in the middle. But first I'm going to start by painting the entire canvas black. I'm just using my 2-inch flat brush just to cover the canvas completely. If you want to know 6 tips about painting with stencils, you can watch my other video that I have linked below in the description. Again, you want to make sure that you're covering the sides of the canvas as well. So while the paint is still a bit wet, you can, with your 1-inch flat brush or your number 6 round brush, you can just streak in some extra colors. So I'm using some cobalt blue, and this is a crimson. And since we're painting with black on white, you might need to do a couple coats just to get all the little white bits covered. Okay. Abstractly in certain areas. And you can mix some of the blue with the crimson or red, whatever you have, to make like a purple. You can carry that over the edges as well. I'm just kind of keeping it in one direction so that it kind of looks like shooting stars. So then what I'm going to do is just use my fine round detail brush. I have a bit of silver paint just that I got from the dollar store. You could use other silver acrylic paint that you might have as well. I'm just going to add some lines of silver just to add a little bit of sparkle and make it look like shooting stars in some areas. And just keep in mind where you want your stencil to be so that you have some space for that. You can carry it off the edges of the canvas as well. And then I'm just mixing, I've already mixed a bit of water with my silver, and then I can just flick the brush to create some splatter. I think I'm going to use some bigger bristles to have more stars. You can also add some on the sides of the canvas as well. Perfect. And if you're not happy with some stars, you can always just cover it up with black paint to make it look the way you want it to be. So once you're happy with the background, then you're just going to let it dry and we will apply the stencil. Just going to add a bit more silver, mixing some silver with some of the blue and purple that I have. Great, so we will just let that dry and then come back to it. Alright, so this painting is pretty much dry. So I'm just going to place my stencil kind of where I want it to be. So I'm just eyeballing it, trying to get it straight and centered. I think that looks pretty good. I'm going to use my painter's tape to secure it in place on the top and bottom of the stencil. Okay. And then I've got my stencil brush as well as a flat brush. I just find it's a bit easier to apply the paint to it. So I think for the moon, I'm going to paint it white, and the letters, I'm going to do this iridescent silver color that I have. That's kind of shiny and sparkly. So I'll start with the letters first. And you don't need too much paint because we don't want it to be too globby or anything. Just enough to kind of cover the bristles evenly. Okay. And then we're just going to kind of dab it and apply it on the canvas. Paint on there. You can also dab it off like that on your palette as well. This is kind of a transparent color that I chose, so you're still gonna be able to see some of the black in the background. Pink that shone through, that's okay. And now I'll do the moon. I'll just mix it with some of the iridescent pearl kind of silver paint that I have. Do another coat, make it a little bit lighter. If you want, you can even add some white in some areas of the letters as well. I'm just going to kind of dab it on, create a cool texture. And once you're happy with that, we're just going to let it dry and then we can peel it off and see how it looks. Alright, so now that it's dry, we're just going to peel the stencil off. So you're going to peel it off carefully and slowly, trying not to smudge it. If it does smudge, we can always touch it up later, so it's not a huge deal. Before I peeled it off, I also added another layer to it as well. Looks pretty good. There's just some small touch-ups with the moon. So with your touch-ups, you can use a fine round detail brush. You can dip it in water so that it has a nice smooth point. And you can just carefully touch up any areas that you're not happy with. So I think I'm gonna get some black on my brush and just fix some of the areas along the edge of the moon. So it helps to have a very steady hand, or to just kind of rest your hand and lean it on like the table while you're working. If you do make a huge mistake, you can always paint over something and give it a try again. It also helps to do a practice painting on something if you've never painted with the stencil before. So I think that looks pretty good. Thank you for watching this video. If you liked it, be sure to hit the like button and subscribe to the channel to see new videos that come out. If you do a similar painting to this, or you try using a stencil in your painting, feel free to tag me on Instagram at Jackie Partridge Art, or use the hashtag Jackie Partridge Art Classes. I would love to see what you create. Happy painting. Bye.